Are you seeing all the opportunities available to you right now at your present state and place? Chances are that the answer is no, even if you think so. Think again. Every time when you're angry, when you're sad, when you think of yourself as victim, or you run all those ruminations in your head about who said so and what you should have said and how things will work and how they always work, you are not paying attention. How do I know? I do it half the time of my day. But here's the thing. The cognitive psychologists treat our attention as a pizza pie. And so the more the pie on grievances and ruminations takes up from your pizza, the less is left for you to actually be watching and looking for opportunities, or even simply noticing them, because it turns out that the opportunities are everywhere. They're all surrounding you. It's not a matter of lack, but more of a lack of attention or a subconscious choice not to see them. Because the subconscious does, well, that's what the subconscious does, obviously. It likes to validate your values. It likes to validate your perception. You know, A Course in Miracles says projection makes perception. And what it means is that you set up with some set of values, expectations, deep in your subconscious, at the level of emotions and desires and thoughts. And then the subconscious comes and says, okay, look at this. You're right. And look at that. You're right. And so if you're spending a lot of your mental energy and bandwidth on, oh, how am I going to go and talk to my boss and there's a meeting and nobody ever listens to me, guess what? They will continue not listening to you because the subconscious says, oh, that's what we are playing now. Okay, let's go find more of that. So how do you break out of that vicious cycle? The answer is little by little. You're not going to wake up one day and be enlightened and vibrate off the planet. Although, believe me, I want it. I want it so much. So that's why I know how you are feeling about it. When one day I woke up and I realized that I have been for 20 years at my job, and even though on the surface sounded really great and I loved it and I had flexibility, I could pay my bills, I helped students, the colleagues respected me, well, to a certain degree, I was not happy. I was not satisfied with that. And I kind of knew it for a while. I have known it for a while. And this is why I started my life coaching business. That's why I picked up some hobbies, which actually eventually got integrated into my life coaching. That is how astrology started. That's how Jinshin Jutsu started. And so the first time when I realized that, okay, I need to move because this is a stagnation at work, even though on the surface it looked fine, I thought, hey, maybe my alternative endeavors can actually pick up that difference. And I so wanted it, right? The thoughts and the ideas of how I'm going to be the next worldwide guru with billions of followers on TikTok, and how I'm gonna sit and make money and people come and ask me for sage advice. Who is gonna say no to such ideas? But you know what? It turns out that there are other ways, and not necessarily worse, but it requires change of perception. So after several years of trying, doing the YouTube, doing the newsletter, going on Facebook, and nothing catching track, I was very frustrated. It's like, okay, I have so much messages and I can help so many people. How come I cannot get through it? Well, the whole point is about timing. You cannot force timing. When you came to this planet, there was a path. You chose it. I mean, granted, your higher self, your right mind, in collaboration with all you guys. But the point is, you are conscious and willing participant in that plan. And so switching plan midway through your life, it's like taking off in an airplane and halfway through the flight changing destinations. Actually, it's even worse than that, saying, okay, I don't want to fly, I want to be on the ship. So it is better on to go with the plan. But what do you do when you find yourself like, I feel it, I want there's something out there and I can do it? And I have helped and worked with many people who actually are somewhat dissatisfied from apparently successful conventional career, and they are very spiritually inclined. There's a reason, birds of a feather. And they feel like, okay, this is the next step. I can walk away from my job and I jump into this alternative community and alternative life. But I have yet to see someone in my circle of people coming to work with me and people that I have worked with who is ready to walk away from the comfort of your bills paid and the level of worldly material success achieved and being able to walk away and start hustling, because it is a hustle quite a bit in the beginning, and if the timing is not right, you might be looking at like a decade of barely scraping. And so what can you do? There's an intermediate step, and believe me, I didn't want to hear it. I had my intuitive counselor who had to tell me several times, receive messages, called me on the phone, say, okay, there is an intermediate step, so I'm going to share it with you. And that intermediate step turned out to be another conventional job, which the first reaction was, there is no such thing. I work in a small niche. It's a higher education. And so, the universities are not left and right everywhere thick on the ground. So without relocating, what are the chances for me to find a community college in my area where there's really one community college in my area in 50-mile radius? So the first reaction was like, huh. And I think that actually is a break, and you have to really get through that break. You need to get rid of that block, because for as long as you feel like, could it really be so? I don't see it. You're not going to see it. All right. Because remember, your subconscious is very happy to listen to your desires, thoughts, 24/7. It's not sleeping. Subconscious never sleeps, and it constantly validates, like, yes, look at this, more of that. There is nothing there for me. So the first challenge is actually to get over that. And what helped me really is to actually think of this multiverse of simultaneously running parallel worlds on top of each other. So for me, it wasn't like getting myself from point A to point B, but really looking sideways, metaphorically speaking, and say, are there timelines already within parallel universe, or parallel dimensions, as the alternative community calls them, where I already have a different position? And that helped me get through that mental block of like, there's nothing. Because you know what? There's nothing in your current reality, but the infinite number of possibilities. And this is where classical physics training helped me a lot, because there's a whole class in physics in upper level, graduate level. It's called functional analysis, where we all trained to do this integration along different paths of possibility. So there, conventional physics training helped me to accept that idea of multiple paths, multiple realities, and I just had to step onto a different path. That's what the physicists would call, and integrate a life there along that path. But going back, my point is, and I'll make more videos on this, specifically what I did. You can find more in my book, Effortless Reality, the purple book as I call it, how I actually went through some of the steps and what were the exact details I did. But the reason I'm bringing it up today is because I wanted to actually bring your attention to that possibility, because I know I was there once and I would have never considered a new job. I thought the next time would be my, guru stage. But no, apparently there is an intermediate step for me and for you probably. And so if you're coming from a conventional career where you have reached a level of success and level of standards and standard of life, you don't have to give up that. You don't have to give up and sit under the bridge for 2 years and, give up the nice clothes. There is a nice middle way where you can have your cake and eat it too, I guess. But for that, you do have to be very creative, and you have to be open and working with your guides, because they know your needs. They know what you're ready to walk away from. I mean, there's some fancy clothes that I have kind of walked away from them because, like, okay, they don't really represent me. But they're little things that I still enjoy. And so you guides do not want to deny you. And the reason is, there's a spiritual reason why you don't want to deny yourself. By denying yourself, those desires become repressed and suppressed. And that means more lifetimes, more karmic experience, and before you reach that freedom, or before you reach that liberation from all the earthly chains. So you do want to have a better life, you want to have more satisfaction, but remember also, you want to be free. You don't want to come back for another lifetime in another planet or another existence. You want to be free. So your path needs to lead through freedom. And the path through freedom is actually the middle path, where you can keep your level of standard of living by simply accepting that there is another conventional job. I'm not saying that you're not going to have any alternative career someday, or that you will never be able to share your ideas or help others heal themselves. I'm sure you have a lot of that, and that is ultimately your function and purpose in the world. What I want to point out is simply to the possibility that the timing might not be right. And in the meantime, there could be some intermediate, very conventional step. That could be quite surprisingly satisfying. This is how it worked out for me. So the first step was to recognize that, oh, maybe there is a conventional job better than what I currently have. And so in my mind, I set up this intent that I wanted the new job to be more satisfying than the current job, but I wanted to have at least the same flexibility, and I wanted to have even a better pay. And you know what? It took me about 3 years from the moment of realization that there was an intermediate conventional step before my future of being a teacher, a worldwide teacher. And the actual finding that intermediate step, conventional job, it took about 3 years. But you know what? It did exist. And the biggest factor was simply the changing of your mind, because the moment that idea sank in my heart and I went through over that resistance of, could it be, the hesitancy, the self-doubt, the sense of there's no way, even if I change my job, the people will be treating me the same way. Once you get over that mental garbage, it's amazing. Every day I'm actually amazed at what my job offers to me. On the surface, it's a conventional job with the same office space, you can say, everywhere else. But underneath, my expanded awareness, my expanded confidence of making that change and seeing the validation back, because my mindset is different. And so now my subconscious is validating different aspects. Now my subconscious validates, yes, there's another job. And yes, those people respect you. And yes, look at that, you're so powerful. So you want to get into that positive feedback cycle, step out of the vicious cycle into the positive. And that gives you the confidence to say, oh, I can wait with my alternative career. I can even grow into this conventional job. There is a possibility coming down the road. I can see it in the next couple of years for me to actually change to a higher ranking position. And my heart still feels like, really, but it gives me the space to work on that block, because it doesn't matter if you take up that new promotion or not. What matters is how you feel. Do you feel you're deserving? Do you feel you're capable? Are you confident in your power of decision, in your capabilities? That is what you're doing. And it doesn't matter if it's an alternative world or conventional. And so I wanted to leave you with that thought, because I have worked with many people who reached out to me saying, okay, I have these ideas. I know I can go and do Reiki, maybe offer Reiki classes, or maybe I can help women heal. And they're all valid. And I'm 100% sure that that is your path. But I just wanted to bring your attention to the possibility that even though that is your path, perhaps you haven't collected yet all the necessary common sense, everyday life, soft and people skills to be able to execute that path successfully. So do not dismiss the conventional job yet, and do not accept or settle. I don't want you also to settle with a toxic conventional job. There is a third way. You can have a conventional job in which there is no toxicity, in which your boss respects you and your colleagues treats you with respect as well and goodwill. Why not? Why not? Give it a try.